Zoom. There we go. All right, everybody, thanks for joining. So tonight we have our very special guest with Dr. Tamar Gamliel from the Chiropractic Lab down here in Redondo Beach, and very excited about her talk tonight, where she's going to be talking about bone health and chiropractic adjustments and nutrition, and also active release tension, otherwise known as ART. So lots and lots of stuff to cover. So welcome, Tamar. Thank you for coming.
Hi, thank you. Thanks for having me, Brian. Yeah, my name is Dr. Tamar Gamliel. I'm a chiropractor. And this is my office back here. All right, I just clicked on the share. Can you guys see me still?
Yes.
Okay, thanks. Where'd you guys go? Okay, well, yeah, so I have been a chiropractor since 2005.
Tamar, you're not sharing right now. You got to turn on the
Oh.
screen.
I'm so sorry. Actually, there you go. Okay. Yeah, since 2015, practicing in the South Bay, and I like to say chiropractic chose me. I didn't choose chiropractic because my background is in sports. I've been a runner competitively since I was 14, and I competed in cross country and track at UCSB. And the sports and sports enhancement intrigued me to, I knew early on I didn't have like Olympic genes. I had to work really hard to even like come close to the top. So my obsession was, how can I outperform someone who's naturally gifted? And it's really hard to, but through soft tissue management, through chiropractic adjustments, through nutrition, and through exercise, like you can get pretty close. Also, you know, and there's so many other benefits than sports performance in that, but I like to use myself as a guinea pig, you know, and I have to try extra hard to just compete at the level that others, it comes a little more naturally. So that's what led me to chiropractic. And now I share that information with everyone else.
The slides still aren't being shared.
Okay. Okay, let me figure that out.
Yeah.
What do I do?
At the bottom, there should be a share screen.
Share screen.
Oh, there it is. Yeah. Okay.
Screen, click it. Let's see. Nope.
And
You have to click share screen and then press which one, and then you press share.
thank you, Marissa. Yeah, my little slides went away. I'll get them back. Hang on.
Thank goodness we have little guys, tech geniuses.
Yeah, little tech geniuses. Okay, well, it's somehow coming up. Oh, shared with 2 people. Okay, so the present button.
Yep.
Okay, I hit present, and then it just takes over my screen.
Huh. Yeah, I don't see it. It was working earlier.
It was working earlier, you guys. This is crazy.
For me, it works for me.
So Brian, I emailed it to you.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's do that then. I'll manually switch it over.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Hi, Priya.
All right. Just give me a second. Here we go.
Oh, hey, Anne. Okay, cool, Brian. You got it.
All right. Let's see. There we go. All right.
Okay.
Just tell me when to go forward.
Okay. So these are my pillars of chiropractic. The adjustment, active release techniques, functional exercise, and functional nutrition. And we'll get into those. Okay. So let's go to the next slide. So this is what I deal with. 50% of my patients have spinal conditions. Yeah, you have degenerative discs, bulging discs, herniated discs, thinning discs, and you're degenerative with osteophyte formation. And so the issue with these is from the top, the degenerative disc is where you start getting bone on bone, and you start getting wear and tear, and that later turns into the osteophytes because your body's trying to fight to keep your posture. So it creates these osteophytes to prevent your your vertebrae from slipping forward or back. The bulging disc, so that's not always a bad thing. Some people feel it hit a nerve and some people don't. Like, this is kind of, it's not really an issue in a lot of people. However, the herniated disc is an issue, because see where this blue balloon pops out, that's where the nerve comes out, and it hits the nerve and you get nerve pain. And basically it's like a point of chiropractic management from then on. You know, surgery is not always going to be the solution. Like, they clip the herniated disc, but now you're going to get bone on bone. So it is more of a maintenance protocol for, you know, the rest of your life. And maintenance, you know, not a bad thing. It's basically chiropractic, muscle care, nutrition, and exercise, which we should be doing anyway, but it would be more focused on the healing of your herniated disc. All right, next slide. Yeah, see, so that's what happens when your disc becomes unhealthy and hits a nerve. And so, like I said, that's when people come and see a chiropractor, because we're known to increase the space so the nerve could be freed up. So this mechanism also occurs in scar tissue. Like, you can have so much scar tissue in your muscles and tendons, ligaments, that it can also impinge on nerves outside of this disc situation. So a big example, and what most people know, is sciatic nerve. So you get so much scar tissue in the piriformis that the sciatic nerve gets hit, and you start feeling that nerve pain go down your leg. Okay, so this can happen at any disc level. The most popular being your cervical discs and your lumbar discs. So also a lot of patients come and see me with this kyphosis, and it is part of the degenerative parts of your spine. And so what happens is your neck starts going more and more and more forward. Kind of, I see this a lot with people looking at computers. They start doing it, and like, your bone will form, like your bones will adapt to that posture if you're constantly moving your head forward, not sitting up straight. And that's at the computer, that's driving, that's, you know, like looking at your phone, watching TV. So you always want to sit with your ear over your shoulder, or imagine yourself leaning against a wall. I mean, this gets so bad that you're throwing your center of gravity off. You're compressing your heart and your lungs, and you lose your sense of balance. This is also a sign of osteoporosis happening, because your vertebrae is collapsing more and more and more. So that's also why OsteoStrong is a great place to go if this happens to you, or if you want to stop it from happening. So, the side effects of kyphosis. One slide back. So yeah, so you're hunching forward. So what's happening, like, your sternum is coming in, and it almost is like you're stabbing yourself in the heart. Like, you know, visually, that's what I see when you start rounding forward. You're compressing your heart and your lungs. So, you know, it's not going to give you a heart attack or asthma, but like, you're not going to use your heart and lungs to full capacity. Your center of gravity changes, because it went from being back here in this good posture to forward. So you get more that susceptibility to tripping and falling. Muscle imbalances. Your back muscles get weak, and your muscles in the front of your body get tight. There's the vagus nerve. And so the vagus nerve is very unique and interesting. It's one of the cranial nerves. It goes from your brain and it goes down along your spine and your neck, and it innervates your heart and your lungs. So if it's going along your neck and your neck is not in an open posture where your vagus nerve can travel and function, it's going to be impinged, and like stepping on a hose, not be a good signal to your heart, your lungs, or your digestive system. So chiropractic adjustments are great for that. So digestive problems, difficulty doing tasks because you're weak and sort of out of balance, loss of height. That's where older people kind of lose some inches, and just general stiffness. So this sounds like doom and gloom, but there are solutions. Okay, so here's a picture of the vagus nerve. So it's really interesting how it goes from the brain down the cervical spine and innervates your lungs, your digestive system, and your heart. So see, at the neck is where it can get impinged, and where chiropractic and ART and exercises can help free up this nerve and have it function 100%. Gargling is a good exercise. If you gargle and find it hard to gargle, that can be a sign too that you need to work on your cervical spine. Here's a video of me doing an adjustment. So if you've never been to a chiropractor before, this is what an adjustment looks like. Okay, that's my husband. So I'm wearing a mask in my practice, but that's my husband, and just for demo sake. And here's a great exercise, prone angels. So I like to prescribe exercises that go, that give you more bang for your buck. So this is like a combination exercise move. Yeah, good. So you engage your back muscles. You're using your full range of motion in your shoulders. So you're going to do this about 10 to 15 times. I think I'll just do 3 or 4 as a demo. And then I like to go straight into a stretch. So this is a great pec and bicep stretch. And then I go into a neck stretch. So if you can get your ear comfortably and rotate it to one side and then the other. So like I said, I like prescribing like exercises that kind of flow together. So it's really easy and you're more likely to comply and do them. Okay. Yeah, and active release techniques. This is what makes me unique as a chiropractor is I'm certified in ART, and it is the gold standard for soft tissue treatment. It is like movement and stretching and massage all in one, and it's great. I mean, I discovered it through my athletic injuries. Like my calves were so tight that an orthopedic surgeon said I needed to get my calf muscles released. He said I had a compression syndrome, and I had to surgically cut the fascia around my calves to release my calves, and I might not ever run again. So of course that devastated me. And I told my story to a friend, and she said, no, go see this chiropractor who does ART. And within the first visit, like I knew surgery wasn't the answer and I would be cured. So it was so painful that first visit because I just had so much accumulation of scar tissue from all my running in track spikes. and competition and crappy shoes. And like, I was running 70 to 100 miles a week, you know, on top of being a student, on top of like all that. So that so much scar tissue accumulated that an orthopedic thought I needed surgery, but I didn't. So that's how I discovered ART and became certified. So scar tissue, this is kind of what it looks like. So you have a tear and your body immediately wants to heal that tear. And it does it like very messy, like, oh my God, if there's a tear, I'm just gonna throw down the scar tissue to stick it together so it doesn't tear anymore. So it's like this just haphazard, and scar tissue forms. Now, so I have this rubber band, okay? So there's a knot in the rubber band, and that's representing scar tissue. So you can stretch your muscles and the knot would get smaller, but it's still there, okay? So ART basically comes along and like flicks off that scar tissue. And then you get, you know, your healthy rubber band, your healthy muscle back. So I think stretching is very important, but you also need the ART to get rid of that scar tissue, that white mess in the muscle fibers. Oh, and here's what I was talking about sciatic nerve adhesions. So that white mess over there, that is scar tissue. And the ART comes in. There's a protocol for glute muscles and the piriformis muscle, and it breaks up that scar tissue, and it's tender. Like I will do it on someone's right side where they have it and it hurts. And then I'll do it on their left side where they don't have it and they can feel the difference. And then they know that, okay, this is something that's working. Because the pain is the signal that something is wrong. So this is kind of the physiology of how scar tissue is formed. So you have in this box in the upper left inflammatory signals, right? Tissue tear, inflammation, and these two, NF-kappa B goes into the cell, has the gene create a piece of the gene called the MRA to signal again. It's this amplifying loop of scar tissue. So it keeps happening and happening and happening until you do something to stop it, like ART, nutrition, stretching, all of that. Interestingly enough, on a side note, the vaccine is made out of MRA. So you can see viruses are on there, and viruses are also very inflammatory. But the MRA in the vaccine has your body create proteins that will help combat the virus. Okay, I'm getting off topic, but this is an interesting slide if you're into that. All right. Okay, active release techniques helps runners with hip pain, helps runners, hip pain, any joint pain, shoulder pain, hamstring strains, inner thigh, piriformis syndrome, hip flexors. I mean, the benefits are pretty remarkable. And here's what ART looks like on the thoracic spine. And then I move into the traps and levator. So you see how it's movement and massage, and it's very specific here in this part to the thoracic spine. So this is great for scoliosis, kyphosis, rib subluxations, if you're having trouble breathing. And this one is great for just about everyone. I feel like everyone gets knots in their traps. We all can feel like those big lumps in our traps. So I actually work on everybody's traps just as a favor to everyone. You can come in with plantar fasciitis and I'm still going to work on your traps because like everybody needs it. Okay, so exercise is also the third pillar of my practice. And we all know exercise as let's lose weight, let's, tighten and tone. But there's so much more to exercise than that. Stress relief, blood flow. It seems counterintuitive that you're creating energy because like you're so tired after a workout, but it takes energy to make energy. It's like a law of physics or something. Improve health. Your blood panels will improve, cholesterol, blood sugar. You're going to get that deep REM sleep. Sleep is so important. 7, 8, 9 hours. And you'll feel good because get endorphins. So where I come in is helping you figure out what workout, because there are many variables, and if you do it wrong, you can burn out or get an injury. So there's the frequency. How many times a week do you need to work out? I work out every day, but I'm used to that. Someone who's new might start off with twice a week. Duration, are we going to go for 10 minutes? Do you not have enough time and 10, 20 minutes is all the time you have? Or do you want to go for 2 hours? Recovery is very important, and you have to listen to your body on that, because if you are exercising so much, you're not sleeping well, and you're actually more tired, that's a sign that you need more recovery. Also, in blood tests will show you if you're exercising too much, your inflammatory enzymes will go up. Your intensity, okay, using your heart rate is good for beginners because it'll help you regulate your intensity levels. You only need to be in that red zone for 10% of your weekly workout. You don't have to, but that 10% is like so key. So just going for plain walks is not enough. You have to get your heart rate up a little bit each week to get the benefits. So your maximum heart rate is 220 minus your age. And then the next slide. So you take 220 minus your age and you figure out your zones, times, 0.9 to figure out your 90 to 100%. And so this red zone, this maximum zone, is what you need to be in per week, about 10% of your minutes. It's really all you need. And then yellow and green is going to be your majority. And then light to very light would be like your active recovery, your easy days. So you need a mixture of all these colors of exercise. And I don't like that on the light where it says 60 to 70%. It always bugs me that it says fat burning, because I feel like people see that and that's all they want to do is light exercise. That a lot of the fat burning happens in maximum and hard heart rate percentages. So like I said, you need a mixture of all of it, and you will benefit with powerful antioxidants kicking in, hormone regularity. You will shrink your fat cells, your adipose tissue, and it's just getting that right amount, striking that right amount for everyone might be difficult. So I can help them with that. Okay, so here are also, some great poses. I give these exercises, okay, back to the kyphosis and all of that core exercise, spine strength. You can do that those high intensity exercises, but if your spine is not ready, you're not going to get there, or you'll get there and you'll have an injury. So let's prep you with some core exercises. These are great basic core exercises. Obviously it's not going to raise your heart rate, but it will prep you to raise your heart rate safely to do those intense exercises. So we got one, the staff pose strengthens your back and stretches your hamstring. Locust pose, your back, your erector muscles. Supported bridge, great stretch. I mean, these are just great. Yoga is fantastic. I highly recommend it. Yeah, and there's me doing plank. I always do plank. Come to my core class, and we do 3 minutes of plank. And actually, a lot of studies show if you can hold a 2-minute plank, your odds of getting back pain are lowered significantly. So these are just more great exercises. Side plank. So these are general, but when someone comes to my practice, I usually kind of tailor their own specific exercise regime to strengthen their core, depending on their needs. Yeah, some more of my favorite. Cat cow, great for the spine. The quadruped with the spine rotation, great for the shoulders and spine. Some more glutes, some ab stuff, some hip openers, hip mobilization. Very important stuff to do, not to be ignored. Like even top athletes do this kind of stuff. It can't be ignored to have a few minutes to do these things. Okay, and the last pillar of my practice is dietary management. So there's a lot of confusing nutrition and diets out there: paleo, keto, intermittent fasting. What the heck is it? Should I do it? Maybe. There's a lot of good research in all of those. Also gluten-free, dairy-free, soy-free. I recommend that for everybody across the board. Those are just really inflammatory proteins that are hard on your body. Some people need to stay away from nightshades, and I don't know if people aren't familiar with that, but if you have a sensitivity to nightshade vegetables, it will flare up your arthritis. This is for some people. So pay attention when you're eating white potatoes, tomatoes, eggplants, peppers. These can inflame some people's joints. Okay, good foods, but not for everyone. Same thing with lectins. They're in your beans, your legumes, your peanuts, your beans, your chickpeas. Those can cause your red blood cells to clump together. Okay, so that's it's not good for everyone. Good foods, but not good for everyone. That's why the vegan diet isn't so great for everyone, because a lot of these are vegan foods that some people shouldn't be eating. My mother-in-law can't have nightshades; just flares up her fingers really badly. Salt, good for some people, bad for others. Food coloring, bad for everyone. Blood sugar spikes, bad for everyone. And molecular mimicry, it is something that they're discovering. Let's take gluten, for example. You eat gluten, and your body is attacking those gluten proteins. And while it's attacking those gluten proteins, it sees some other tissue in your body, like say the thyroid. And it looks similar to the gluten. So it starts attacking your thyroid. So it's this mimicry. Some of this thyroid tissue looks like the gluten, and the body is attacking it. And that can happen to your brain tissue. That can happen to your bone tissue. You can have attacks on your bone marrow. You can have attacks on your joints. You can have attacks on your gut. So this is why I have people avoid gluten and any food that you are sensitive to. So across the board, foundation of good eating is drinking enough water. Plain water, tea doesn't count, coffee doesn't count. Plain water, half your weight in fluid ounces. So if you haven't weighed yourself, go weigh yourself. It's important to know. It's just a number. You can work off that and sit throughout the day. So I have mine. I make sure to get half my weight in fluid ounces. Protein is 1 gram per kilogram body weight. So if you're 150 pounds, it's about 70 grams of protein. And that's a super easy goal to hit. And you want to divide it like 20, 25 grams of protein, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And I prefer animal protein. It is high quality, dense protein. This is where vegetarians, they have to pay really close attention to getting enough protein via beans or whatever they do. But if you're not great, eat your chicken, eat your salmon, eggs. And if you have trouble, I like collagen protein. It's very easy to break down. Whey protein is not good. Is very inflammatory. It is a dairy protein. And the process of extracting, of hydrolyzing the protein out of the dairy makes it a very inflammatory product that's very hard to break down. So I don't recommend whey protein. However, collagen protein is great. You know, it's like I said, it's very easy to break down. It's great for hair, skin, and nails. But it'll get you to the proper amount of protein if you fall short, like if you can't make it to dinner or whatever, steak. And don't skip meals. Don't try to starve all day and then eat a big dinner. It's really about stabilizing your blood sugar. Skipping meals, blood sugar spikes is very hard on the body. It raises cortisol levels, stress levels, and it starts affecting your brain. It could really affect your brain. You get that brain fogginess, and over time, it's just very depriving. So don't skip meals. Keep that blood sugar level. Also, eating should only relieve hunger. It shouldn't be relieving fatigue. Eating shouldn't make you drowsy. Eating shouldn't like get rid of your hangry, your crankiness. And if it does, that's a sign that your blood sugar levels are not stable. So you need to work on like metronome eating and getting enough protein to stabilize that blood sugar. Okay. It really should only relieve hunger. And when you're in that point, that's like a really good point. And I encourage people to try to get to that. All right. And being gluten-free every day, always, all day, every day, gluten-free, gluten-free, gluten-free. It is not a natural product in our diet, and our body knows it's not, and it's going to attack. It's going to attack back. Oh, okay. So, Cyrix Lab is fantastic. They run autoimmune panels. So if you suspect that you're maybe allergic to chickpeas or maybe allergic to eggs, and you want to know for sure, they have a multiple food immune screen that's array 10. And I can hook you up. This is the Cyrix test kit. So I would sign you up for the test kit, and you just pay the lab fees. So the multiple immune reactivity screen, I think there's about 50 different foods you can be allergic to. That's how I learned. I truly had a sensitivity to gluten, dairy, and sesame oil. So it's really helpful to know what you're sensitive to. It's a shortcut. I mean, you might already suspect and you can cut it out, but this is like the shortcut to figure it out like now. It's not cheap. I think it's $300, but you're going to save yourself a lot of tummy troubles and headaches and long-term, like not feeling 100%. Also, Array 5 is a multiple autoimmune reactivity screen. So this is, maybe you have an autoimmune disease that you don't know about, thyroid. Maybe it's a bone autoimmune disease that you want to know about. Also diabetes, or rheumatoid arthritis, any autoimmune disease. If you're suspecting it or you have a genetic history, if a family member has it, ORA 5 is great. So this is okay. So you can see the rest. Those are the main two that I prescribe. Or, you know, it all ties into my chiropractic practice, and getting people to their ultimate health. The bone marrow makes your white blood cells. It makes your red blood cells. It makes your platelets. The white blood cells are in charge of making B cells. B cells make your antibodies. Okay, so and your bone quality is poor, you might not have a strong immune response if you come across some insults, whether it be a food, a virus, or a bacteria, or something toxic in the air. So you really do want to build your bone density and go to OsteoStrong, eat healthy, get your chiropractic adjustments. Your bone marrow is so important. So like I said, it makes 95% of your blood cells. That being said, these tests, you need to have a proper amount of vitamin D, and you need to not have an active infection. Your lymphocytes and monocytes need to be in a normal level, or if you have low vitamin D, let's say, and you take an antibody test, it's going to have a false negative, which is one of these Cyrex. Also, let's say you want to get an antibody test to see if you had COVID in the past and you get a false negative. Well, if your vitamin D was low, then you're going to get a false negative. So you want to make sure that vitamin D level is good. You can get a blood test. I can help get you a blood test. We'll check your vitamin D levels and other things. So just know that, it's not the test, it's you have low vitamin D and maybe an active infection that's giving you that false rating. Okay, I think that's it. Thank you. Thanks for coming, everyone. I know it's the first night of Hanukkah. So I lit my menorah and gave my kids some presents. Does anyone have any questions?
I do. I didn't quite understand what you said about vitamin D giving you the false reading
Yeah, the
on
false
test.
antibody test. So specifically for antibody tests, if your vitamin D is inadequate, I don't know if you had a test, but if it's like below 30 or below, and you get an antibody test and it says negative for COVID or negative for gluten sensitivity or whatever you're testing for, that might be wrong because you need vitamin D to take the test. You need to have the proper amount.
I had one of these panels done some years ago. So if I go back and look at the test and I see a low vitamin D level, that might invalidate all that information, correct?
Correct. I mean, I spent hundreds of dollars before I learned that your vitamin D is low.
Wow. Yeah, that's good to know. Also,
Yeah.
Since I did have it, does it change over time? Like if you have it once, are you always sensitive to those same items for your life, or does that change?
You are. So
you are for life?
Say you are for life. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So say you're gluten-free and you take it's going to say you're not sensitive because you haven't eaten gluten. So you actually have to eat some gluten to get the antibody level up to show on the test. Yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
actually, so before you take the test, eat a bunch of dairy, eat a bunch of gluten,
I see.
vitamin D, because you have to have that reaction to see if you're sensitive to it. You have to have the
Yeah.
antibody levels go up.
So you have to be eating that item as well that you're testing.
Yeah,
And
at least
also
just a bit.
a bit. Okay. Because I've been trying to be off of wheat, but I've had Ezekiel bread, and I know that still has wheat in it and gluten, doesn't it?
Yeah.
There, do you suggest any alternatives to if you're not eating any wheat?
Yeah, there's a lot of gluten-free products. Cassava is a great flour.
But I
Also-
mean, as a bread, like to replace the desire for bread.
oh yeah. Oh man, you're just gonna have to wean yourself off of that.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm almost there, but not quite. I broke down and bought some Ezekiel tortillas today.
oh yeah. Hey, I should hook you up with Priya right here. She makes a bunch of gluten-free products.
Who does? Who's
Uh,
that?
on the Priya down here, who's in this lecture.
Oh, really?
I'll
Really?
send you that info later.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
You're welcome. Brian, are you eating enough protein?
Me? I eat enough protein. What is so I actually have had ART done probably about 6 or 7 years ago. I forget the practitioner, he is up in Redondo Beach, but I had this knot on my shoulder and also ironically in my calf muscles. Both my calf muscles had these big knots and I couldn't walk properly. I was like, what the heck do I do? Then my buddy told me about ART. I finally went there, and just like you said, I mean, at the first session, I was crying. I mean,
Yeah.
tears were coming out my eyes.
It hurts.
It hurts as he's trying to like break the knot in my shoulder, and my calf muscles were just so much pain. But I think after like 3 treatments, and then it was gone. But
Yeah.
it was one of the most painful experiences, but also it relieved the pain because I had these knots and I couldn't walk. But at least it wasn't to a point where it was like surgery like yourself. I was like, wow, that's an amazing antidote of just like, okay, you go for one person says, okay, you got to do surgery, and then you do this non-invasive way and it fixed it.
Yeah, and I think people are shocked that like my mere thumbs could like steer them away from cortisone shots or surgery or ibuprofen. You know, I think they're like shocked, like how can your thumbs and some movement like avoid like because the pain is so bad. That's all they can, comprehend is that the pain is so bad it must equal the treatment must be super aggressive. But I mean, ART is painful at first, but it's not. It's I'm not harming you. I'm not putting drugs in your body or trying to cut you open.
It's all natural. So what's how would someone know when to see someone like yourself as an ART versus, let's say, oh, can I just get a massage?
Yeah, massage is great. I mean, it's great. It's relaxing, but it's not specific. So say you have plantar fasciitis, masseuse is not really going to know what to do about a plantar fasciitis. Like, I mean, ART, I mean, I plantar fasciitis is so great for ART. I mean, ART is great for plantar fasciitis, but a masseuse like can't, a rotator cuff injury, like a tight hip flexor, like let's go to the rotator cuff injury. I actually dig into your armpit and like pull your arm up and get into that rotator cuff. I don't think a masseuse is going to do that. Psoas muscle, I have to like dig into your stomach, into your guts, and like release that psoas muscle. So I guess I go places that they don't. That no one wants to go.
Yeah.
Armpits, feet, stomachs.
That's you. Priya has a question. She can't, her mic's up. She says, what's your favorite foam roller?
Oh, I like the harder the better. The hard black dense ones are great because they will last you longer and they just do a better job. If you're new to foam rolling, it's going to hurt. Your calves, your IT band, your adductor, it'll hurt, but air T is great to do in between. I'm sorry, foam rolling is good to do in between active release technique sessions and as a maintenance going forward. So I do like those dense black ones, and you can graduate up to the rubber ones with the nubs on them. That's great. The ones that vibrate, you're just wasting your money. There's ones that like vibrate and do all these things. It doesn't really add to it. You're just kind of wasting money.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Get a foam roller.
Anybody else questions?
Can you hear me? Okay. Can you get rid of adhesions in your back?
Yeah, I had that video of me doing it on my husband's thoracic spine. So yes, definitely.
I mean, you could actually break them up and get rid of them.
Yes. Yeah. So when you first see me, like I actually have to kind of work through the top layers and soften them up. And then maybe like the third or fourth session, I can get deeper. So kind of works in like layers of an onion.
Thanks. Do you take Medicare?
No, I have a discount for people 65 and up.
Actually, Tamar, talk about, so you've been coming to OsteoStrong now for
Oh yeah.
2 months, I think, something like that.
Yeah, I've
What
had
are
a
some of
few
the
visits.
benefits?
Yeah, so like I said in the beginning, I like to test things on myself, diets, supplements. I mean, I just take it all and test it all. So when I went to OsteoStrong, that was also a test. I don't have osteoporosis, but I'm like, okay, I want to go through what you guys go through. So I did it, and I did a virtual half marathon, and I felt muscles engaging that, I mean, I do yoga, I do running, I do core, I do like everything. And I felt these muscles engaging. So a half marathon is 13 miles, or a mile 10. They like kicked in, and it felt just like that leg press. I'm like, oh my God, I feel like I'm doing the leg press at OsteoStrong right now, where I'm just engaging and trying to get into the thousands. So if you don't know, it's like so great that it measures, like to have measurable outcomes is so good. Because you can see your progress, or if you're tired, or what's affecting you. You could tie it into that. Okay, so great. I do recommend it for athletes, but I think the osteopenia porosis would be like number one. And I mean, I think eventually athletes will get wind of it.
Yeah, we're starting to, I know in Mar Vista, they have a few athletes. I think they still have the 2 Olympic athletes going there. Some of the other locations, yeah, they have pro athletes. Most recently, we had the head doctor for the LA Clippers here checking us out as well. Because yeah, we see in the other centers, we do see through osteogenic loading, there's so many benefits, like yourself as a extreme athlete, they recover faster. They fire their muscles stronger. They can sort of more sensitivity in terms of their reaction times. But yeah, just recovering is faster. And ultimately, like you said, it's like your bone marrow is getting healthier, right? So you're building your whole immune system, which will ultimately, hopefully then reduce inflammation if you have a proper diet. So your body's operating at a much more sort of efficient level.
Yeah, and I mean, I would like to help people, like if they come in and they have a kyphosis, I would like to, chiropractically help them stop the kyphosis. Oh, I think that would be a great complement with the OsteoStrong.
Yeah, because we do see a lot of clients with kyphosis coming in, and one of our protocols is we do a before and after photo. So we take the pictures, and literally some clients within 4 sessions have already started to their neck is already starting to go straighter, just because of the force that we're putting you through in our devices, and they feel it. Like after a month, they're like, whoa, I'm standing taller. I'm not hunched over as much.
Yeah, it's that muscle recruitment for sure.
Yeah, great. Anybody else with questions? It's got to be diet questions.
I know people love talking about diet. Keto, come on, everyone's doing keto.
Yeah, keto's the flavor du
Paleo.
jour.
I'm a little,
Oh.
I'm wondering how the machines work, Brian,
Mhm.
with the, the back, like the hunchback, like your ketosis, whatever it's called.
Yeah, I said yes.
That putting strain on the bone doesn't collapse them, because they always talk about, your bone being so brittle that a pressure could collapse it. I mean, I'm sure that it's fine, but I was wondering how that process overcomes that.
Mm.
You're putting pressure on the bone and the bone is brittle.
Yeah. So part of it is also, again, I'm not a doctor, but from what I've seen is your body's smart. Your body's smart enough to, and that's why we always say when you come into the center, put as much force that you're comfortable with, and when you're not comfortable, you release. And it's with our devices, the main one I see with the kyphosis that helps is the posture. So at the very, very end back there, the one where you're lifting like the wheelbarrow, that one. I mean, that one you are putting hundreds, I mean, Valerie yourself, I mean, you're putting hundreds and hundreds of pounds through your arms and your spine, and we put you in that proper position where you are erect. And by doing that, it forces that body position. And we've seen, again, people with back pain, hip pain, when they do that, and plus all the other 3 devices, their pain gets reduced. I don't understand the science. It's sort of magic that happens.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
Yeah, I don't know. Tamar, I mean, you're the bone doctor. Can you explain?
Yeah, no, it makes sense when
Yeah,
you're picking up the plow. You have to force yourself erect, and of course, these people are pushing you into the position. So you're forced to go back into your natural spinal position.
But how is it? I guess it's not important. I was just curious how the bone can withstand the pressure, I guess is.
Oh, yes. Because
know.
it depends on your strength. It grows along with the bone density. They grow together.
Yeah, there's a direct correlation between your muscle strength and your bone density. So your body will not, if you have poor bone density, you're going to have automatically poor muscles.
Yeah.
So your body is going to give up the muscle to prevent your body from snapping.
With the exception of swimmers, okay? I had an Olympic swimmer like 10 years ago in my office, and I actually had a vibration plate back then. I was like one of the first chiropractors with the vibration plate. And I had this Olympic swimmer in, and she was in her 50s, mid 50s, and she's super strong. She won silver in the relay. So super strong and still fit. She's like, oh yeah, I've like poor bone density. But she could swim 5 miles. Okay. But her bone density's shot. I'm like, oh, hey, why don't you just get on my vibration plate, come here 3 times a week and do these exercises. And 3 months later, her bone density went up 6%. And that was in 3 months, 3 times a week. So that's the exception where you can have super strong muscles, but poor density. She never had the impact.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because, swimmers and cyclists. Cyclists, they're very strong muscular, but again, poor bone density. Why? Those 2 sports, it's because you're not having impact. They're just floating there, right? So your body, your skeleton's not getting that impact like a runner or someone who's jogging, or even just, let's say, kids playing around and falling around. You want to have that shock through your body. Whereas a swimmer, you're just floating and there is no shock. So they tend to have very poor bone density. And same thing with with cyclists. So even like these Tour de France cyclists, they're super efficient with their mechanics, but poor bone density. Actually, one of our clients here in Torrance, a cyclist, as a male, has osteoporosis in his ankle, broke it.
Yeah.
What is that
Yeah.
vibration plate? How does that augment the healing, the vibration plates? You used it too, Dr. Gamliel. You're both using these plates. Is it the vibration giving you more impact? Is that what's
Yeah.
going
Yeah,
behind
it's
it?
like it's bringing the force to you. Yeah.
Bringing force, like you were saying, Brian, force. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why we have, that's why as part of our protocol, you do the 2 minutes on the vibration plate. There's a lot of research on the benefits of vibration therapy, as Tamar said. So that's why we put you on there in the beginning to activate your central nervous system, improve your balance, then go through the protocol itself, and then come back and then do the vibration again. You are stimulating the bones in that way.
Thanks.
Yeah, I think they first discovered it with the astronauts.
Yeah.
To get their bone density back. Russian. I think it was developed in Russia, and then so the astronauts got their bone density, so they used it on athletes, and then like slowly it like went to the public.
Oh, I have one question, Tamar. What do you think of strontium for bones, for osteoporosis?
What's in it?
I've read varying opinions about it, some being detrimental and some to enhance it.
What's in it?
Strontium?
Strontium?
Yeah,
Or-
you not heard of it?
No. Oh, is it just an element?
It's an element.
It's an element.
Yeah, it's an
Yeah.
element.
Okay. No, I've actually never heard of it. Strontium.
Yeah, in the osteoporosis community, that's one of the elements that's sort of getting popularized now.
Oh, wow. Oh, an alkaline earth mineral. I mean, what I know, the metal forms a dark oxide when exposed to the air. I mean, we take iron as a metal. For now, I know vitamin D. Vitamin D. That's
And
what I know now. I will look into strontium.
And well, for osteoporosis, that and calcium, right?
Yes, just
To
a little
take
bit of calcium. Yeah, and actually eating liver is very good.
Liver?
Fresh liver, desiccated liver.
Yeah.
We got to get back to that. Eating
Sounds
bone
delicious.
marrow. You know, when your mom, my mom used to suck the bone marrow out. She was onto something.
Yeah, mine did too.
Valerie, if you don't want to eat liver, they also do pills in liver form. They have dehydrated liver as
Well,
well.
that sounds like a much better alternative.
Well, you don't want liver and onions?
Yeah, I used to have that as a kid, right?
Well, great.
Good for you.
Any other questions? The hour is up. No?
Thank
Thank you.
you. Nice to meet
great.
you.
You
All
too.
right. Well,
Happy
thank you.
Hanukkah.
Happy
Much,
Hanukkah.
Tamar, and thank you everybody for joining us. Next week we have a special guest, Dr. Nicole Fujiyama. She is a naturopathic doctor and acupuncturist. So, and she deals a lot of cases with autoimmune disease, like Hashimoto's disease. So that'll be a really interesting one about just autoimmune itself and the combination of naturopathic medicine and also acupuncture.
I think these are great, Brian, that you put together because the people are local and it's really nice to
Go visit
get
them.
all those disciplines.
Yeah, so definitely go visit Tamar. She can work on you and get you in the fix your shoulder issues.
Fix my adhesions.
Yes, fix your adhesions. All right. Well, thank you everybody. Have a good night and happy Hanukkah.
Thank you.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.